around the table to call to order the August 28th PCLB meeting. And then we'll go around and do attendance. Justice Sergeant, Chair.
Stephen Zamaros, can you remember?
No, Nicole, Hall Community Services. Usually somebody's here.
Maggie Vishnu. Excellent. So we have one. I would now like to open for public comments. I see we have some members of the public here. Or is there anyone who would like to make comment? Okey dokes, no public comments. The first item on the agenda is the revised evaluation tool, which you should have gotten a copy in the packet that Nicole helpfully sent around last week. Thank you very much. This reflects the revisions from the workshop on. So we don't have a copy in our packet.
It's a separate one sitting
Yes.
right there. It's kind of got yellow.
It's got yellow.
The 5th of August.
Fifth of August.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it's manageable.
You have one? Does anyone else need a copy? No need to send it around. Zam, you have.
Yes,
this subject,
yes.
So I'm going to defer to you on how you want to proceed.
Yeah, well, we went through this line by line last week and had some, last time, it had some comments, we made those changes. We need to vote to approve this now. There are, I guess, a couple of issues. One is if you see any typos or something, just bring those to me offline. We don't have to do those
Do
here.
it one, so,
Just,
so we don't wanna vote on this as it is, typos need to be recorded.
excuse me?
We don't wanna approve this with the typos.
Right,
We want to approve it with the typos noted.
okay, all right. That's fine. Then we can do that. So with just any typos or anything you want to do like that, any thoughts? And then also just getting a clarification on the GPS stuff. and
GIS.
GIS stuff. Were you able to do that?
I've checked in, they're still waiting from Viewshed and getting access to those.
Did you ask him if that's public information? Those are all public files that he can access even without consultant giving us access to those things?
I didn't, but I believe they're waiting on that consultant company, so I don't know how much of it is public.
So when I emailed back and forth with Micah, he said he thought he had some preliminary maps. Because I asked him specifically if we do approve the revision today, how do we coordinate moving forward? Because we do have 2 applications pending for our next meeting, which is on September 11th, which is a quite quick turnaround. And I sent that to Micah, who is the town GIS staff person, and then Jamie Fitch, who was the sustainability coordinator, who was the staff lead on the open space plan. I haven't heard back how that coordination is going to go, but we can obviously do a follow-up depending on the outcome of today, because I'm assuming we'd want to see it both ways.
And we consider, providing an update to the council and the town manager in the form of a letter explaining that we were charged with redoing our evaluation process of the quantitative tool, not the whole process, but the quantitative tool to reflect the open space plan. We have done this, but it is not usable without the access to the open space plan. Well, that information, GIS information, I just wonder if maybe we can push a little bit and that would help with their audience, I don't know, because, and all I'm saying is that, we somehow give a formal request to Karen, who's our liaison town manager, that need to move this along if we want to use this, and we need to be able to use it.
Yeah, it's been an open item for 6 months. And
Yeah.
I think we can do a formal request. I do want to circle that there is a town council meeting next Wednesday and the 244 Beach Ridge Road application is on the agenda. I am on vacation. So I can't attend. So if someone would be willing to present the application and also potentially make this formal request in front of full council, we'll also do a letter in advance to Karen, but if somebody could go next Wednesday to council to present, so they've had the application for a while. It didn't get put on the last town council meeting, so it's been, they'll have the full packet, they'll have the recommendation letter. It's usually a less than 5-minute presentation of the project because it'll be the first time, it's first readings, it's the first time they will have seen it. And then I think a status update on the incorporating the open space plan into the evaluation form, I think would also be helpful.
what time?
I can be there, and you'll be there.
What time is this? 7?
It starts at 7. We're typically on the end of the agenda, so usually it happens around 9 or 10 o'clock, does that?
Yeah, let's one vote though.
If the builders can do it, that would be helpful.
Yeah.
I think that would be great.
I think that. It's good, because it's like farming out and stuff, so.
Yeah.
Help that sense. But plus we both heard things.
Yes. And so, I was notified this week that it's going on the council agenda for next week, and I did let that, like Tony and Tom and everybody know that I can't make it, and that I was gonna make that request here, so I'll follow up with an email letting them know that the two of you will be there, and I'm gonna mention that we'll be presenting the recommendation and the, sort of concept of the revision. You're not gonna go through it in detail, that's my concept, my concept.
Did we definitely determine they have to prove it? Or do they just need to know about it?
Know about what?
The new form, the new evaluation form? Does the council have to approve it or just be?
I don't know exactly how they want to handle this sort of thing. This is the acquisition process is an approved council
Right.
approved process. If there's a revision to a piece of that, and this is a major piece, yes. I would assume they would have to approve it, but I don't know.
Karen? That's a question for Karen, and obviously that wouldn't,
So we
we wouldn't be
propose-
asking them to vote on it on Wednesday because they haven't had enough.
We can't use a new form, because the new
Right.
form has to be tied to the open space plan, and we can't do that, so.
Right.
So we'll give them just basically an update on the
Update.
process, give them a
It's an
copy of the
update.
draft.
When we know we can use the form, we should be doing an evaluation on 5 or 6 properties. And be able to go to them and say, read down the form and tied it to the open space plan, here's what it looks like. On some of the old properties, so you have an idea of what the points come out to. Not that they care what the points actually are, but those are benchmarks that we
Just-
use
just- yeah,
using the new form.
Right.
I was just thinking, do we wanna offer a workshop as a board when we get there? I mean, we can always make the
To
offer,
the council.
the council workshop.
I don't know if we make that much of a big deal about it.
I think
I
there's,
think it puts too much emphasis on the quality.
That's true.
thing.
And on
this
the
isn't
form.
intended, I mean, this, we don't make our decisions based on this thing.
Right.
I mean, it's a piece of the puzzle. I mean, frankly, I think we pay a lot more attention to what we're being presented, or we should. On-site reviews, that sort of thing, is what should be done.
So it's just an update. next Wednesday, and then
Yeah.
request for resources, because in request for resources, I mean, we want to see the underlying layer, we want to see the data. That's what I mean by resources.
Or
And
have a
we're
time.
gonna run at 5 or 6 of these, so that's my favorite resources.
My whole point in pushing that is that they need to know that
Yes.
we can only go so far on the charge they gave us.
Yes.
We can only go so far. Until that information is readily available to our IT staff and everybody else.
And I think. Somebody probably used Karen just to let him know, since she's on set it, but. You should, I mean, we talked about it, we talk about it every meeting, and that's, it's not used to it, right?
And there is going to be, so there is going to be some time associated with getting the new information. Figuring out how to use it, particularly at Micah's end. But also if we are going to be using it in meetings. And then actually be doing properties using it, there'll be a little bit of a learning process, so. Time is tight.
Absolutely. So a few years ago, Micah gave us a presentation. It might be worthwhile asking to join one of our meetings to give us a presentation once he's had.
Once he's had it, sure.
Once he's had it.
Useful to understand what he's facing.
Yeah.
I think we need to know what he's facing, what does this mean to him?
Is it just
Because it's not on
we're on
our
his pile of things to do, right? Yeah.
no problem, give it the mic, it'll get done, that's nice, but.
Okay. So that being said, maybe we just get any new comments on this right now. I don't think we should be voting on this right now. We should vote with some corrections,
I'd like to vote with some corrections noted
I
because,
have a comment, actually.
Yes.
And it goes to clarity. From the perspective of somebody that really is new to this tool, doesn't have the background. So, and I'm specifically looking at the spreadsheet portion,
Yes.
the column headings. There's a lot of criteria that seem to be discrete, like it's yes or no.
Right.
So, like, take the very first one, for example, maximum points 50. So I'm assuming that if it applies, it gets 50 points. If it doesn't apply, it gets 0.
Correct.
So the column says point value per unit, and if you didn't know what the units were, it isn't immediately clear that it's either 50 points or no points for that particular one. And if you
Should we put it like an NA in the thing
Yeah.
is that's an NA, it's
Yeah.
not applicable
Yeah.
in that situation. I
Right,
think we should put that
I
in.
would put that in.
Okay,
So there's several items.
yeah, sure,
Oh, there's a bunch of.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. That's good comment, thank you.
so the reason why I'm proposing we vote is that we can say that it's been formally recommended, and I think that will also put some urgency behind,
Yes, I,
the data.
Yeah.
If we're continuing to debate
it's
it,
just a draft.
it's just a draft
Yeah.
and
Okay.
are there, and you said there was a typo? So there's the addition of the NAs.
I only found one. It's not that big deal, it's just, it doesn't affect understanding.
Oh, we'll correct, where is it?
Right at the front, this is the usage
Yeah, okay,
in caps, USS, USEAGE.
oh, okay. Yeah.
As I said, it doesn't change.
dollars.
Okay. You make that note.
So I think if we have a recommendation to, or clarifications to approve it, then we have discussion, we codify the changes. And then as a second amendment, or amendment, and then we can vote. So I need to move at the vote.
Well, does anybody have any other comments, questions, clarifications?
Scott?
Scott, any thoughts? Did you get a chance to look at this, the last one, you did say you used this again. Scott was on the workshop.
Yeah. Thank you. Oh,
All right, good, thanks.
We would be voting to. As opposed to doing what we have most.
we do not have a motion.
But I can move.
That's okay, yeah, so what we would be doing would be approving a draft. Pending some revisions that we have noted
Correct.
and. Availability of the underlying information required from the open space plan. Because this thing doesn't work without.
Well, I'm saying we recommend with the next step being testing with the GIS.
That's just the term thing. We can approve the draft as we're pending
And yes,
availability of the data,
Yes.
testing with our other.
Yes.
Tell you though, the test on the other properties is not to evaluate this. It is to establish benchmarks
yes,
that are there. And that way we can know different size properties, et cetera, that have already been approved. They already have points in the old system. We can find a new benchmark base. So that's just the next step.
but we've also made assumptions because we want to make sure we know that the data behaves. The data contains the information and behaves the way that we assumed.
That's the open space plan piece, yes. I hope. That's what we're hoping. That
Yes.
is the assumption.
Do you think you can put that on
I
the
don't
motion?
know, I don't know, So I move that we approve the plan with the changes noted. And pending the availability of the open space plan GIS data.
Should repeat the last part of that,
Pending
and then
the availability of the open space plan GIS data.
And I think that should say draft plan.
We're gonna approve I move we approve the draft. I should have been draft.
Why is it draft?
Because.
Because we got a couple of
Pending
changes,
data.
pending,
So it's not a,
it's not completed.
we have some changes, but also. We may have to fundamentally change it if the stuff they give us doesn't allow us to do. So we could have 5 questions in here that are tossed and be done. You and I and Scott will be back meeting somewhere again.
Do you have what you need?
no,
I didn't think so.
can't possibly write that down.
So I will
What
try.
really what I suggested is to get all the pendings, visions, and the potential changes done. Then to approve, to recommend approval by the council, which is the responsible party for setting up the evaluation tool. Otherwise, there's 2 or 3 contingencies that are already in this that are vague. And I think it's going to be a lot cleaner if we just wait for those to be done and then submit the whole thing. As an alternative, if you would like to advance this quickly, we could always submit a communication to the council saying this is a draft change of the evaluation tool that we're working on. The final copy will be coming. That allows us to move the process along a little bit, still reserving the possibility of putting in necessary changes when we're done. So either way is fine. I'm just not sure how I would write all of that in the,
Your point was that it would be a good idea to approve it today, or at least the draft of it, to help move it along. With the town council saying we got it this far, but this is,
Well, we have charged to do this. I mean, council needs to know. We don't want to show this to them yet because we could change the whole thing. Talk about confusing. people.
right,
I mean, it's available for people to look at, but, But from the standpoint of a formal presentation, you have to say, okay, here's what we don't know. We don't know. I mean, as I say, I mean, are we gonna have to knock out 10 questions related to the open space?
So
plan
it's
because
really, yeah,
We don't have the
contingent.
data from the consultants. I don't know. I just don't know. So, but I agree with the second thing that Rick said, which is let's move it along by letting the council know through our vote here that a draft plan has been approved, subject to the following.
Availability.
You put that in the words,
That,
Without blah, blah, blah.
no, move that we approve the draft land acquisition assessment form.
approve draft. Draft what?
Oh, excuse me, as opposed to, draft, proposed. Because that's what,
Proposed.
that's the title of this
That's better, yeah.
proposed land acquisition assessment form.
Line two, B2, July 29, just so we have the right version.
Steve, repeat that.
Yeah, volume 2, version 2, dated July 29, 2025.
Okay.
So that we approved the proposed land acquisition form, subject to. This is an issue because we just changed, we put NAs in those columns, so that needs to be recorded, so subject to certain changes.
Editorial changes.
Yeah.
Minor editorial changes.
Subject to. Just
And
I would just say grammatical changes, not editorial.
So what I have right now is move to approve the proposed land acquisition assessment form version 2 dated July 29, 2025, almost subject to changes or grammatical changes.
Grammatical changes. It has no
As-
substance really.
grammatical changes as recorded. August
Recorded.
20, what was my page here,
Okay. All right, and
subject to. Availability. Of. Relevant,
Just say
open,
just say open space. Yeah, I guess relevant.
Yeah,
Just explain.
relevant, open space. Plan data,
GIS data.
GIS. Data.
move to approve the proposed land acquisition assessment form version 2 dated July 29, 2025, subject to grammatical changes
As noted, September 20. September 28th.
as noted August 28th, 2025, and subject to availability of relevant open space plan GIS data.
Do we have a second?
Who did the motion? Andy?
No, I Doug.
Okay,
Sorry.
yes, I move. So move.
Right now, you can see.
I second.
Discussion. All of those in favor? With five. Okay, Lucy, please.
7 on.
1, 2, 5. With five.
All right.
I will note for the minutes that our next step with this process is to test against existing past purchases to develop new benchmarks. And that way, if someone's looking at the minutes and wondering where you're going with this, that's the next step.
Well, a nice step is to present. The town council
You want to present this to the board?
Well, to just to give them an update
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and request GIS data.
I'm recommending we don't present this to the council until it's in a form, until we know we're gonna use it or could use it.
Yeah.
Because
I agree.
Well, we know next Wednesday there will be an update
Is that what you're referring to?
An update on.
to the council.
We'll tell, yeah, where we are in the
Yeah.
process and that it be approved. Committee approved draft pending decisions.
Did they approve the last one?
Yeah.
Did they go over it in detail and, no, so. It's really not, this is,
They-
nobody's
they-
gonna say, hey,
we-
where is it?
well, we did a workshop with them and walked through the evaluation form. So if they were interested, they were looking. And yeah, there were questions. I'm trying to remember 20 years ago. I mean, I'm sure there were questions. We had a very active council. Conservation was a kind of a hot button in those days. It was more of a development orientation in town. And there had been some very serious work in terms of cutting housing numbers and all those sorts of things, which raised a lot of hackles, putting moratoriums on them. So there was a lot of interest. So, you know, people cared about, you know, what it was, you know, why are you asking about those kinds of things and that sort of thing? And we just explained that, so, but it was, you know, it was conservation oriented, our presentation. But we certainly want to do that with council when we know.
When it's finished.
Yeah, I just would hate to go through that and say, okay, in this question, we're gonna go to the open space plan, we're gonna look at this. And then we find out, well, no, that's not, you know, they're not gonna include that, it's in the report, but I'm not included GIS data. We just don't.
Yeah, we just don't know.
I think there's a good chance we'll get everything that we want from them. I don't know. In terms of negotiations with the consultant, I have no idea what kind of negotiations are taking place with them. You know, and should those negotiations include our needs? You know, are they literally doing that? Are they literally buying from the consultants certain access?
Certain time, yeah.
I just
So-
don't know.
Jamie?
Also, I'm gonna coordinate with Jamie and Micah. Karen, Jamie and Micah.
That's a good point. That's right. Yeah. Poor James. Still everything like it's not doing, and Nicole's not doing.
Are we ready to move on to our application for expanding Pleasant Hill Preserve again? So I invite Scott as the representative of the land trust, which is the applicant, to present.
Good. That's synergy.
Here, you can have my comment.
So of course, Scott gets started, just from a public standpoint. By necessity, we're using the original and acquisition of necessity form, that's what Micah has done for us,
Correct.
and we will have to use that as part of our process. Till we get access to the open space and.
Yes.
You guys ready? No, I looked at it, just couldn't.
What do you want up?
Yeah, Nicole, can you put up the map of the bigger map of the bigger area?
This one?
Yes. Then we get rid of this.
Oh, I think that's for,
It's closed captioning. I can see if I can make it skinnier, maybe. There we go.
So, yeah, because that's flat. Great, well, thank you everyone for allowing me to come out and present the project. This is, I call it expanding Pleasant Hill Preserve again, because we were here, was it a year or two ago, on the property, this property right here, that we protected last September
closed on that and added it to our Pleasant Hill Preserve project, property. And now we're coming today to talk with you about this piece right here. That's outlined in red. It is 25 acres. It's going to be split off of the 40-acre parcel. Currently, it's about a 40-acre parcel with a house on it here. We'll be splitting it off, so we'll just be purchasing the 25 acres in the back that, and there's no development there, there's no houses or anything like that.
Which road is Pleasant Hill? I'm just trying to remember.
So this is Pleasant Hill Road right here.
Okay,
And this is Spurwink Road right here.
okay.
And this is heading towards Cape Elizabeth. There we go. So this property is, right now, it's considered, you know, it's part of Spurwink Road, the address is on Spurwink Road. But we're gonna be purchasing the back part. And we're gonna be connecting it to our Pleasant Hill Preserve. So right now, we're at about 186 acres for Pleasant Hill, and with the addition of the 25 acres, it's going to expand Pleasant Hill Preserve to about 211 acres. And if you add that to the adjoining conserved property, this is the orange, is Rachel Carson National Wildlife Refuge, and they have, if you look at just the contiguous area that connects to Pleasant Hill Preserve, they have about 300 acres of contiguous conserved lands there that adjoin Pleasant Hill. So in all, we'll have over 500 acres of conserved land in one block there in that part of Scarborough, which is very exciting because, as you all know, the larger we can maintain these contiguous blocks of conserved lands, the more valuable they are for wildlife, for water resource protection, etc. So this is very exciting to have such a large block in Scarborough protected. So one of the main reasons for protecting this is protecting those wetlands. You can see on here, there's some wetlands right in here that connect to wetlands within Rachel Carson and Pleasant Hill Preserve. And there's a few other little spots of wetlands in there. These wetlands, and there's a little intermittent stream that connects this wetland with this wetland here. And then this little stream runs out and connects to the larger wetland complex. So this is about 53 acres of wetlands back in here that connect to the larger wetland complex within Rachel Carson that goes out towards the Spurwink River. Spurwink River is out here. And it kind of wraps around, and then you can see part of it right in here, and it heads out towards Higgins Beach. So this area, these wetland complexes here form the headwaters for the Spurwink River. So it's a very important area to protect those wetlands because it's protecting the Spurwink River and the Spurwink Marsh, keeping those waterways healthy, clean, and valuable for the things the wetlands do. The wetlands buffer against flooding, they buffer against drought, and they also provide critical habitat for wildlife. Within some of these wetlands, there are actually vernal pools. And when I went out in April of this year, in the spring, I observed 4 vernal pools on the property. And all 4 had egg masses, amphibian egg masses in them. And we'll see some pictures towards the end of the presentation showing some of those egg masses. So there's a lot of value there, and not only is it important to protect those vernal pools, but it's very important to protect the dry upland areas around those vernal pools and around those wetlands because they help to buffer and protect the wetlands and help to protect the vernal pools. They also provide critical habitat for the animals that use the vernal pools as part of their life cycle. So the frogs and the salamanders and the other amphibians that are using those vernal pools, they use the vernal pools for part of their life cycle, but the rest of their life cycle, they're dependent on going out into the uplands, those dry areas to find food. Like when they're adult, frogs and salamanders, when they become more adult, they go out and they need that upland area, and they can move thousands of feet from the vernal pool where they started in order to find that those resources, the food and the shelter to survive. So it's very critical that we protect a large area around those vernal pools to ensure that those vernal pools actually survive, that they don't, they don't just basically die off the wildlife dies off of it, if they're not protected properly. So, kind of to support the value of those upland areas and the wetlands, I've got a couple of agencies that that have looked at this property. Nature's Network, which is a collaboration of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. They collaborate with universities and other agencies that look at and deal with wildlife issues. That collaboration, Nature's Network, has identified 24 acres of this area, so almost this entire area that we're gonna be purchasing as they call it aquatic buffer, which are areas that have strong influence on the integrity of the aquatic areas. So meaning, you know, those upland areas are very critical to protecting those wetland and water resources, and that's been identified by Nature's Network. It's also been identified by the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, because the Maine MDIFW has this area is part of their statewide ecological area of significance. And that is specifically they call attention to that area because of its value towards protecting the Spurwink River and the Spurwink Marsh. They see the Spurwink Marsh is a statewide area of importance, and these lands around that marsh area are critical to protecting the marsh and those resources. It's also, this property is located within 3 federal bird conservation focus areas. So it's valuable to protecting habitat for a variety of birds in the area. Now, Nature's Network has also identified approximately 15 acres within the 25 acres as core habitat for imperiled species. So those are areas that contain habitat that supports high levels of imperiled terrestrial and aquatic species, including 600 of the species of greatest conservation. So this property will help to protect habitat for those imperiled species. We will be adding, there'll be public access to the property, and we'll be adding trails. We already have a trail system on Pleasant Hill, where we'll eventually connect in trails onto this part of the property and over into the property that we're purchasing. And there's actually a trail already. I'll show you if you want to go to the bigger picture. I'll kind of zoom in a little bit. So you can see there's kind of like this mark going across the property right there, and that's already a trail that's on the property, and that was where I took one of the pictures that's included in the presentation packet. We'll see. So there's already a trail that kind of runs across through here and connects into the land that we purchased, that we now own here. So we would be able to add a trail system in there and get people out on the property. Protecting the property will advance 3 important goals for the town. The first is the town's open space plan. This property is within the open space focus area as identified in the plan. It will also advance the town's comprehensive plan, as the comprehensive plan states significant natural resources and open space should be protected, and an interconnected network of public open space developed where feasible. And the third goal would be the town's 30 by 30 goal. So if you wanna switch over to the budget, I'll go ahead and share that. So the total, you can scroll up just a little bit, the board of better. We'll probably get there, thank you. The total budget is $610,000. That's a $500,000. We got an appraisal done on the property, just that 25 acres. It came in at $500,000. You can see some of the other costs associated, project costs associated with purchasing the property. So we were able to secure a donation from the landowner for $50,000. And then we will be fundraising an additional $260,000. We've gotten close to about $100,000 already secured from contributions. And we're gonna be looking at some grants and some foundations this fall to help round that out. And then we're requesting $300,000 from the land bond, which is under 50% of the total project cost. And then I think if we want to move over to the pictures. Okay, so that's a kind of an overall shot, 25 acres of forest, wetlands, vernal pools, and there's an intermittent stream adjacent to Pleasant Hill Preserve and Rachel Carson National Wildlife Refuge. You just want to keep scrolling. There's another picture of some of the forest in there. There's some very mature, beautiful, tall pine and oak and maple fir, hemlock. Nice variety of mixed hardwood and softwood forest. There is a little area of a shrubby area that adds a little diversity of habitat, of upland habitat for wildlife. There's about a 2-acre wetland. It's emergent wetland, meaning that it's not it's not within the forest. It's doesn't have a tree cover, so it's emergent wetland. It's got a lot of cattails in it. Right now, it's almost 2 acres in size, and that's a very valuable wetland to protect. For those reasons, this is a picture of one of the vernal pools that I observed on the property, and that is back in the forests. And then you can see some of the egg masses that I observed when I was out there. And again, egg masses are, I know we've talked about this before, but egg masses are like little icebergs. And when you look at them, what you see at the top coming off the surface of the water there, all these little kind of blurry spots, those are all egg masses. This is all egg masses in there. And in this picture, you know, there's some egg masses in there. All you're seeing really is the tip of the iceberg in these shots, that those egg masses reach further down into the water. So it's, you know, thousands and thousands of eggs that are being laid in these vernal pools to support amphibians, salamanders, through their life cycle. That's a picture of the stream that connects down through one of the wetlands, connects to the larger wetland complex down in Rachel Carson. And this is a shot at the back of the property, kind of looking out towards Rachel Carson. So you can see that's part of that 53-acre wetland complex that connects into Rachel Carson. And then that's the shot looking at that existing trail that's on the property, that cuts across the property, that we would tie into for a trail system for public access.
How did that happen? How did that existing trail, somebody make that? Or what?
Yeah, it was there. Yeah, I don't know exactly who made it, but yeah, the landowner used the drill to walk through.
But it's in the covenant.
It could be an old woods road.
Could have been what?
It could be an old woods road that's just been, you know, hasn't grown up. People have maintained it over the years for walking. So, I think that's all I had. If anyone had any questions.
We do a site walk on this really Bob.
Yeah, I haven't done one.
Do you know what it's currently zoned as? Is it rural residential, or because if there's small lots right next to it?
I think it's RF, the rural
Rural.
rural farming or residential farming.
This is right up against pretty heavy dense development.
Yes.
Right, on the other side.
On the other
Pleasant
side.
Hill.
And do you know what portion is wetland versus upland? It looks kind of half and half.
Oh, how many acres?
Yeah,
Let me see if I've got that.
I just mean it is developable. We would get that
Oh,
question sometimes.
yes,
It-
that was
It's
my
under
question.
threat.
Absolutely.
We get at the.
How many acres have developed?
I would say at least half. But I mean, you know, wetlands are developed.
Yes.
And if the vernal pool doesn't if it's not considered a significant vernal pool by the state, meaning it has to have a certain number of egg masses. Then it can be developed also, like it's not given any extra protection as a vernal pool. So, yes, when you look at the map and you see Pleasant Hill and you see all the development surrounding Pleasant Hill. There's by far, it would be very attractive, I think, to a developer to come in and develop that, especially having. Having that adjoin the Pleasant Hill Preserve right there, that, they could advertise as having secluded home sites back there.
And the reason you have this set off here in the yellow. What's
So that is the remaining portion of the property that the owners are gonna retain.
the owners, okay, so they are selling,
So yeah, the owners are selling, so they own about 40 acres, they're retaining 50.
so it'll back onto their property.
Yes.
Are there any other questions before we dive into the draft form?
I would just like to, for the record, I think we should always have those site. Even if we all can't go, we probably could never all go. But I think we should. This is maybe not that necessarily so close to. What would have been nice to all check it out.
That's very important. We've gotten jammed up with everything. Building the open space plan stuff is little periods of challenges, which is appropriate, that's the way it goes. But getting out to these properties is very important. That said, having the agenda, we're talking about maybe 2 more coming up. So can we talk at the end of the meeting today, let's talk about what we need to do to get to see those.
Which is included as one of the actions that can be part of the process.
Maybe start by
I don't have anything.
All right,
Any other questions? Thank you.
thanks, Doug.
Does everybody have a copy of the draft assessment form? And the reason why I'm calling it the draft assessment form is for folks who are unfamiliar with the process, is the first step is we do have the GIS analysis done by town staff, which we then review, make revisions as necessary. So it's partially completed based on GIS data, which we ground truth, and sometimes make changes to based on the ground information that we have. So it's not a score, it's just a starting point. So my thought was, it's not part of the 100-year floodplain, 0 points is appropriate. However, the second one, which the parcel includes rare, significant, or endangered species habitat, and I'm gonna look at Doug for this one, having 15 acres of imperiled species habitat identified by the state, seems to me that should be considered, but it's not, well, I don't know the difference between imperiled and rare, significant, or
We had a really good discussion about this. Scott has the ability to use maps that we don't. We have access to them, they're not part of our evaluation process. So when he talks about what they're seeing and what's going on, there are really good maps that we could be using. And we actually have referenced at least one of those once or twice in the revised version of the SO thing, because there's been some really good work that's happened. We're using the they call the MNAP,
Okay.
Natural Areas Program maps from the state. Those have been updated as of 2023, so they're not too far outdated. But the quality of the information there for endangered species is not good. So, significant, yes, but endangered, no. So, I don't think that anything, Scott, I'm perfectly happy to have you correct me. I'm not sure that rare and endangered species, but significant species, because of the habitat quality is real. I think that the next one, absolutely, that's the points for number three.
Yeah. Okay, so it will remain at 0 with the discussion that in the future, we're gonna.
Well, we specifically changed that because of the limitations of the existing state map, and the fact that it's statewide. Looking at one data point is not significant, it's not enough for us to evaluate these properties. So we expanded the definition. In the current version, you only looked at one data.
However, some of that's captured in 3, which I had at least vernal pools, but.
Yeah, I had 20 points in 3, because of, old growth and brown pools. In 2, though, I would say that the thing that we should take into consideration is that the open space plan says that this is included in contiguous open space focus area. It's a contiguous open space focus area. So in other words, it's connection, it's really, connecting. And the major area in their detailed maps where that comes into play is habitat. So it's a major connecting area. And this property is included, along with our Pleasant Hill Preserve and Rachel Carson and everything else. So, it's important from a habitat standpoint. But we have trouble with the endangered species stuff. This is not good.
So I agree with Doug on the 20 points in 3. Did anyone have anything in addition to 3? Moving on to,
Sorry, can I interrupt? real quick?
Yes.
So you were talking about the species of greatest conservation need, whether that would be considered like threatened or endangered. That would be applicable to that line item.
yeah, it's a data limitation for the existing form, which will be remedied in the revised form.
Correct. Okay, because I can give you, I was just looking, if I can give you a definition for species at greatest conservation, that's helpful to your discussion.
I think we recognize its habitat value. As we've mentioned many times, we use the form as a guide to our decision. It's not a points total based decision.
Okay.
Do folks need additional information? I think.
The only question I have on number 3 is the nesting areas. In those pictures that you showed, Scott, I mean, were there any? Like that one that was open field kind of, I mean, so are there any opportunities for nesting areas in this? In this property that you noticed when you walked through?
For nesting areas, yeah, absolutely, each.
Or the forest areas?
Yeah, every bird species has its own nesting, the way they nest, some nest in trees, some nest on the ground, some nest in grasslands, some nest in shrubby areas. So by providing a diversity of habitats on the property, having forests, shrubby areas, wetland areas, emergent wetlands, it's providing a diversity of habitats to enable the largest number of species, a greater number of species to be able to use the property for nesting.
Right. So then I would want to include, so that's a third.
I agree with that. I mean, I think it's significant. So, and especially considering we're extending existing conservation and world critters. It's important.
This is why it'll be really nice to go to our new form, because we
Yes.
spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to deal with the complications of the old form.
So 4 is the max points of 100 because it's 100% forest and forested wetland. So
I have to go by what the form says. I don't remember all the details on these myself individually, but it says right down at the bottom, the total number of form must be 50 points.
Oh.
So I think we max out at 50.
yep. 50. Think that-
Forested wetlands.
I just assumed it was. Good catch. Saltwater marsh protection. 0. Wildlife corridor.
That being said, it does affect the marsh, like, protecting water going against the marsh, but not under this government.
Wildlife corridors.
Well, so I want to go back to what I said a few minutes ago about the open space plan and habitat piece. And the fact that it is seen as important contiguous open space, it's a focus area, contiguous open space. In other words, in the comprehensive map that they do, it's the light purple, which is the contiguous stuff as opposed to the highest possible value. And where it picks that up in the open space analysis appears to be water quality and habitat, primarily in habitat. So from, I think it's safe to say that there's value to the properties up in that corner of the town from the standpoint of wildlife corridor, and the fact that as you look at what is going on up here, this is where we're talking about, way up here, we have a real flow here. And I can tell you that there's a lot of animals that do this because they can find them in the house, so. Fortunately, only a few bears over, but even moose, you know, but that said, deer and the usual stuff. Things like small, prey animals like foxes, very, very important to have those carvers and stuff, not getting killed by cars every day. So anyway, I think it's a valuable piece and preserves some points for, wildlife corridor.
I agree. How many did you suggest? 25? I mean, it's
25 is the max on this one.
right, 1 point per 100 feet.
Why not?
I would say 25.
I'm okay with that. Given that we're also connecting all the other things, it's important.
Right. Aquifer recharge area at 10.51 acres. Gives a total of 5.255.
Let's give it 5. We're precise.
That's just a GIS.
Nothing else.
That's, yeah,
It is really helpful though to have them be able to look at those maps, those, and to actually quantify that we do have acreage that's in that town.
So based on the size of the parcel, which is 25 or just I think 26.2, it falls in that second bucket, which is 30. And this is one I don't think we complained about the shape because it is. We get the 50,
The rectangle.
it's a rectangle,
It's a nice shape.
it's a nice shape, 50. Link, obviously, that is 50 points because it's surrounded by currently protected lands. I did have a question, creates a link between trails. I was gonna ask Scott, I mean, it's going to create a
Yes.
link between the trails because the trails are in the current Pleasant Hill Preserve and we saw them
And there is one.
and there is one.
Yeah. You know, this was really intended for those pieces of property that link two pieces.
Okay,
So the trails could, as opposed to
Just extending.
having a trail on it that we can link to.
Okay.
Which is really helpful, you know, from the standpoint of the trust owning it, being able to link into the trails. It's kind
more
of,
like filling a gap. Was the original intention.
it gets a lot of points for being adjacent to the other public lands that.
Yeah, I think it covers.
So we're gonna keep that at 0. And then I had a question between 5 and 6. So we have parcel creates a link between undeveloped parcels totaling at least 20 acres, but the parcel abuts public protected lands. Is it an either or,
I don't know.
meaning, it definitely abuts public protected lands. But what about undeveloped parcels? In 5. Does he get 15 points? For that? Because. It is on the other side. Undeveloped. Well,
Because it's already
Okay.
conserved.
Looking at this map, what are we? What are we seeing in green and the orange?
green is the current Pleasant Hill Preserve and orange is the Richard Crossing National Lab.
So they're already connected. But we're not creating a new connection. We're just expanding currently.
The intention of this was always to create a link between undeveloped parcels. It wasn't intended to be public or private,
Oh,
just undeveloped parcels. I mean,
Okay,
it's
so,
as,
yeah.
as it says, it's all it was ever intended to be.
so there's 15 points and 5 and
This is all, the whole linkage thing, which we were giving a lot of value to, and we did this whole thing. And we still do, and the open space plan did the same thing. There's so much value in linkages.
so it's an and, not a,
Yes.
okay, so it's 15 and 5 and 26.2 and 6. And then also in 27 near protected lands, another 20.2.
Yeah, there was a little redundant, the new form is streamlined. But yeah, it seems a bit redundant, yeah, this is the way it is. Oh,
8 and 9 relate to, riparian buffers.
This is, yeah. Stream, rivers and streams. So is this a stream, current stream that's all there, or is it intermittent stream?
The stream goes through that I identified as most likely near midstream. It's running in the spring. I haven't really seen it in the fall, but that's my guess is that's fine.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think we're stretching, so we don't.
Same way with steep slopes.
Same with the steep slope, so 8, 9, and 10, 0.
And unfortunately, it does not provide public access to the beach. I was just on the beach today, we're monitoring for plovers. Which are all gone,
Good to know.
a lot of dogs. Pine Point Beach, it's mostly dogs, a few people with dogs.
So-
Kidding, but there's a lot of dogs.
Is 3, section 3, item 4, other land, would it be 20 points? Because it will provide public access.
Yeah,
That was a question for me.
the intention of this one, as I recall, was really a situation where you've got a piece of property and this. This creates a place where people can now park and go in or now
Okay.
access, you know, and
Right.
I don't really think.
No.
It deserves all those points for being contiguous, for creating wildlife corridors, for creating contiguous space, but it's not a, an ad.
Yeah, no, I agree. We could have given it maybe some if it was on roadway and the parking lot and stuff, it could. And provide another access to point into Pleasant Hill, we could give it some points, but no, I don't think so at this point.
It does get 4 opportunities for recreation, we just have to decide where we're gonna put it. Is it potential passive?
I think it's passive, yeah.
I think it's not an existing active, it's in potential passive.
Running and hiking for sure.
It's the same point, it's just.
It's
in a
just
different
where it's
spot.
put. I'd
Yeah,
put it
so we get
here.
20 points,
I agree.
attention, 20 points.
Oh, we always like
Passive.
to fight about this one, community character. It will,
Well, this would be where if we start to go and look at these sites. It's gonna be-
But it's important, yeah. This, I don't dispute what Scott has done here, it's. you know, it's views of forested land, that's what it is. I mean, as you look at those pictures, you can see that when you're on that property, there's some really pretty areas. But this was really intended as a community character sort of thing. You know, what are you seeing from the roads as you drive by? You're seeing the
Right.
forest, you're seeing. And it's helping to keep that area over there as you drive by, something besides houses. Or, but if you look at it, it's more like forested.
So we're gonna keep the 26.2 in forest.
Yeah.
Okay, next, public investment. Is B. So that's 26.2. And there's. Partner match, I calculated about 49% town. I also wanna highlight and recognize that there's a $50,000 landowner donation. And $100,000 in match already raised, so that, I believe, is another 26.2.
In the partners one.
In the partners. Because I don't think there's a point total max here. Meaning they're additive, not
Supposed to give credit, so they was offset. Or lower the percentage.
406.
Additional discussion, questions?
Well, just some input on this. In March of last year, 2024, we looked at 162 Spurwink Road, 25 acres. In this form, it got 228 points. And the bonding that was requested for this, because of the total cost of the property was higher, it's 350,000. So we are, because of the landowner contribution here, it's a work has been done to try to, I think, lower the amount that's being asked for from the bond. So it's, and it was a, roughly the same price of 470,000. So overall, this looks pretty good. Our stewardship costs in the budget and administration costs in the budget are a lot higher, so that's when we look at total cost. But on the other hand, I don't think they're out of line, I don't know, but costs are.
Yeah.
The long-term stewardship costs, I think it would help us, Scott, if the trust were able to talk to us at some point, you or somebody, about how those are calculated. Because, me being what I used to be, I'm thinking about, what's the present value of unexpected cost over time? And it should be funding present value of that expected cost, or in terms of the total budget, we're funding the present value of that expected cost, so. Maybe, and I'm perfectly happy to talk offline about that too, with the trust, and think about. And I could do calculations like that to help with this in the future. And then let us really nail down what we think costs will be as they go forward, because it's so hard to do. Very difficult. But I think this makes sense, given what we're seeing, especially given the way it comes in on our point system, but also the incredible value that it has in that area, linking those properties. And the fact that the open space plan, this is that area up here, it's all in the focus areas, so.
I agree. It's great property. I don't think in this current system, you give enough credit for the flood mitigation aspect of any land, any property this value, this close to the watershed and the headwaters of the Spurwink River, so. It's usually valuable.
And Scott, do you have data around the use of Pleasant Hill? You do have data around the public's use of it?
Yeah.
Because my impression is It's very popular.
Yeah, I would say it's either number one or number two of all of our preserves for the number of visitors that we get out there annually. So it's between Fuller Farm and Pleasant Hill Preserve, those are our two most popular
Right,
preserves.
because there's, every time I drive, there's always
Absolutely, it's being
lots of,
used.
when I go there, lots.
Well, it's so nice, I mean, the access infrastructure is already good, the parking lot's there, you know, by expanding existing preserves, it's. Giving almost an immediate opportunity for folks to get out there and recreate.
Where's media? You want a bushwhack?
You want Here it is. Well, I don't know, I don't wanna say that the interest has to do with
It's not
great.
88, but
Any more discussion? Do we have a motion?
I move we approve the amount questioned for this property.
I second.
Discussion? Are we ready to vote? All those in favor?
300,000.
Wait, let's make sure Rick has everything he needs.
Yes.
It is 300. Yes, 300.
Is the motion to
The motion is,
the application and recommend use of 300,000?
yes,
Is this going to be identified as 166 Spurwing?
is that what you call it?
166 Spurwink Road, expanding Pleasant Hill Preserve. I'm here
Yeah,
again.
I think it's the 166 road is the key. Because we have the 162 expanding Pleasant Hill Preserve.
And recommend to approve the application. Sorry, motion is that we approve the application, recommend the use of 300,000 for 166 Spurwing.
Second.
Do we want to note in the recommendation the Pleasant Hill Preserve at all?
no,
No, okay, just the address. Okay.
You want me to add Pleasant Hill Preserve?
oh, the title, yeah.
Extension, yeah.
Doesn't help, their expansion or something,
And
Continued expansion. This is a very nice piece of work on the presentation, Scott. Thank you. The details extremely helpful.
Doug made the motion,
I seconded.
Maggie seconded, now we vote. Copy. Okay, so. We currently have two applications in, which are the Nonsuch River Preserve at 91 Muzzy Road by the Scarborough Land Trust and the O'Donnell Deering Farm at 3 Fenderson Place. Doug can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is the first time we've had two applications at one time.
yeah.
So the way that I've been considering it is whoever submits the first completed application gets first on the agenda. I don't know if folks feel like it's too ambitious to try to review both applications in a single meeting. But our next meeting is September 11th.
These both coming from Scarborough Land.
No, I'm sorry, the Maine Farmland Trust
Okay.
is the O'Donnell Deering Farm at 3 Fenderson Place.
The other one's in.
So the Nonsuch River Preserve is Scarborough Land Trust and the O'Donnell Deering Farm is Maine Farmland Trust. They have not been through the GIS evaluation yet, but as we've discussed, they will go through the existing form. And that would. Micah has it. I submitted it within the 2 weeks, but we're 2 weeks out today. So hopefully that won't be a problem.
Do we know?
Is both of them? Just one.
I think both, because they came in the same day. But I'll double check.
Well, I mean, looking at what happens, it's
Mhm.
almost 11:30.
They would be the only, that would mean there could be only 2 agenda items.
Yeah. So if we say an hour and a half. We may be able to do that.
The next meeting would currently scheduled is November 13th. And that's it, that's all we have scheduled this year. So part of the reason I raise this is we have a lot of work to do for the revised evaluation form too. So I don't know that a September 11th and a November 13th meeting are gonna get us through this 2025. So do we want to consider an October meeting?
Yes,
And it'll be a meeting.
Are we officially just an hour and a half? It can extend to 2 hours.
I thought we were just an hour.
People just have to be available.
we always take 2 hours.
Because
Yeah.
I,
Really?
I always put 2 hours. in.
I mean, I think it's important for people's scheduling. Should we extend the official time?
This says an hour. on the-
we also have to reserve the room. So do we want 2 hours on September 11th? Is that what we're discussing multiple things at one time? There's
Yes.
the window, well, we don't know if we can get the room, but we have to check. If we can get the room for 2 hours on September 11th, I still think we need an October meeting.
I agree.
Realistically, and I hope we need the time, but we don't use it, but realistically, for a meeting. September, October, and November is a good idea to have on the docket. So that we have the flexibility, but we don't know, we don't have to use them.
So 3 2-hour meetings, one in September, one in October, one in November. The September is currently scheduled, November is currently scheduled, and October needs to be scheduled.
Do we know anything about the timing for these 2 properties that we have to review from the standpoint of the way funds are flowing, things like that?
Scott can speak to the Nonsuch River Preserve. I have to go back and check on the O'Donnell hearing.
Just wondering about the immediacy of the need, because I'd really rather we were doing one per meeting. But if there's an immediacy situation that's going to jeopardize other funding, for example, which is really the key thing from our standpoint. If us doing the work is going to facilitate outside funding, then we ought to do the work. But if it is not necessarily the case, then we should probably do one each meeting.
Let's add the October meeting to our schedules. We get into September, can add another one. Needed. If we have 2 applications and can't get to them, we can schedule and meet very quickly.
Well, I think we agreed to schedule October one
October
already.
meeting.
But what day though, the 9th,
The 9th would be, yeah,
Good for me.
10 to 12.
I think I'm in DC.
Yeah. I know.
I don't think that's the end of the applications, folks.
Yeah, we're little voices behind us.
Yeah, I don't think, we currently have 2 in hand. I don't think that's the rest of our year. I can't do the 9th.
okay, when can you?
I can do,
In October.
I'll just don't go away.
I'm not in town on 7th and 8th.
How about 10? Friday the 10th.
Or do you want to go into the next week?
I can do the 10th, or we could do this.
October 2nd.
Or, no, we're talking about, October. I can't do October second.
What about the 16th?
How about the 16th?
16th. 10 to 12.
I can do that.
Okay.
So October 6th.
Yes. Scott, you good there?
Okay.
I mean, Scott, are you done? Yeah, Doug, yeah, good.
October, okay. We are expanding September 11th to 2 hours. We are adding October 16th 10 to noon. We're expanding November 13th from 10 to noon. And I need to check with Maine Farmland Trust about their timing. It might be in the application, but I'm not remembering all the details from.
I can tell you about our timing for the next application. So that one is, we have a contract to close this December 1st. So for us, would be critical to get in to September, given the, the requirements of the town council. It would be very important to get into the September meeting. I think Maine Farmland Trust is trying to close by the end of the year as well. Yeah, so I think that's why they're coming. Yeah, ours is December 1st.
So we would do that one in September. Sure.
All the meetings have been extended and the 16th's been added. Well,
So in here's fine.
right here, yeah.
So if both Scarborough Land Trust and Maine Farmland Trust have end of the year deadlines, and the fact that it takes 2 readings at town council and you have to get on the council agenda, I think we should try to. I think we should try for September 11th. But for both.
Yeah.
Also, since there might be additional applications, then
Yeah.
it could just, it could have a domino effect.
So Maine Farmland Trust, they have our application. Have they seen our evaluation form? I mean, what I'm saying is the more well prepared they are, more information they give us up front, faster we can.
We can,
See. Like they're ready.
they coordinated originally with the town directly, but I can send them the old, the existing.
Share one of your presentations with them, an example of what.
Well, they can just watch this.
Good.
I mean, right, this is the process. They know that they have to come in person and present. But yeah, I think we'll just recommend they watch a couple meetings about.
I think we would just want their, whatever material they're presenting. We would want it a week before, because we're used to putting it on.
Well, they've submitted a completed application, so so completed application includes the application form, a budget, maps and. Which they
It's
have,
more of a presentation.
I was just saying that like the maps, I didn't know if that was part of it.
yeah, they submitted the map, and I can send those all to you all early. I guess I had been waiting, because I send you like 6 emails before a meeting, so I didn't want to like inundate you with multiple
That's fine.
pieces, but since I can, they are completed applications, the only thing we're waiting on right now is the GIS analysis by Micah, so I can forward those so people can familiarize themselves in advance of the GIS component.
We would have gone to the effort to send that out. Look at it, we had to look at it.
Yes.
And if I looked at the wrong one, I'd come in here. and
Yeah,
back and
so
say,
you did the right thing, always.
Well, just
did-
keeping them
You
all
did the right.
straight, well, because there's the recommendation for 244, then there's the one today, and then there's the 2 new ones,
Yeah, this is getting crazy. And
then trying to get the form.
Well,
finished by the
I would
year.
think that would be the only questionable thing, is if you try and do 2 in the same, does it muddy things? Does it get
It
confusing?
really is not probably a good idea. I also don't want to do it just because people have deadlines unless
It's a funding.
it's related to their ability to get outside funding, because that's what matters.
Okay.
Otherwise, making our schedule, because of the town council having to meet, et cetera, making the schedule beat year end only makes sense if it's going to affect the ability of the presenter to go after.
Because we have an October meeting scheduled, I'm going to circle back with Maine Farmland Trust to confirm their timing. If it's because we do have now have an October meeting scheduled, that it may work for their application during that meeting.
That'd be great. I mean, we certainly want to do the land trust this time, I think.
Well, they got their application in first, so,
Well, there you go.
well, I can't think of a fairer way to do it than first come first, serve.
But I do know with the trust that it matters whether they have the funding, coming from various sources so they can go after other funding. So, I don't know about with the Farmland Trust exactly how that works. So they partnered several properties in Scarborough, so they're a good partner.
So do people want me to send the application in advance or just 1 week before the meeting with whomever's on that? I just said,
Do when you have it.
Whenever you have.
Okay,
Yeah,
I know.
anytime. What about sidewalks? Could we, now in the past, what we've done with those is Scott or somebody has said, here's a time when we can do a sidewalk, and any of us that can
Right.
show up, and if it's only two, it's only two. We don't want to try to schedule a sidewalk where all of the people in the
No.
we can't even get to the meeting.
Right.
So, but if we can have more than one person at a walk that's convenient for Scott in this case, or for Farmland Trust, then we should do that before consideration.
Yeah.
I will also request that the Maine Farmland Trust organize a sidewalk in advance.
Please,
And who can make it is who can make it.
Yeah.
Well, schedule, you can, at least you can make it. And at least we have, I have one person. Right?
Yeah.
Or somebody, we have to have an anchor person.
It cannot be me.
Okay.
I can tell you based on the town council meetings, organizing the materials and other coordination, it cannot be me.
all right, so
So
what
let's
is this?
say out and we don't get two people, then we'll have to find another date. So that's how we'll do it.
So what are you saying we can't do?
I can't be
site.
the person who goes, the anchor person who goes to every site visit.
Oh. Well, if I'm in town, I'm happy to do each of them. So I'll commit
Yeah,
to
me too, but
that, so it's just a function of.
Me too.
yeah, we're all willing. All right, so what we'll do is
I'm probably a
we'll
little more
get a
flexible.
date from the trust. And if we get two people, we'll take that date and time, otherwise we'll probably soon enough.
Scott's gonna do
And then Scott, we're requesting the Scarborough Land Trust coordinate a site visit for Nonsuch River Preserve.
that would be very helpful for me to see them, actually see them.
Want this call?
No. Any other items for the next meeting? I feel like we have to wait until we hear back about next steps for the
new form.
new form.
Yeah.
We can't schedule that ourselves.
What are we scheduling, a vote, or what are we scheduling? The
You're
next
going to
update?
town council,
Well, that, we're doing that,
yeah,
yeah.
and then you're gonna, or is somebody gonna write them a letter?
Well, we're gonna bring this up.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Jessica's gonna talk to.
And I'm gonna talk to Karen
Yeah.
and
Jamie.
Jamie and Micah.
We're gonna talk with them.
Well, I'm just saying, we can't really schedule it until we have one.
Great.
Our
Do
next
what?
steps,
Our next
Sure.
steps.
Oh,
our next steps on the accreditation form would be to test existing properties, but we can't. So
I'm just
we
saying,
are on hold.
we're scheduling based on applications, we're not scheduling based on next steps.
right, we're not ready to use this, sure.
That's all. Okay, I think that's everything. Adjourn.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, guys.